yet another edition of Unnecessary Wagers as the football season continues to speed along. Nick, how you doing? I think you got something to tell everybody.
I do. So we just want to thank our friends over at Novig. For Unnecessary Wagers is powered by Novig, America's #1 sports prediction market, available right now in 35 states, including California, Texas, Florida, Georgia, and New York. On Novig, you're 10 times more likely to win long term compared to a traditional sports book because you're playing against real users, not the house. Sign up today and use promo code ETB Network for exclusive bonuses. All right.
All right. So, welcome into yet another week. It was another crazy, exciting week in both sports. Big weekend in college. Big weekend for my Sun Devils. Beat Texas Tech in a crazy game. Their field storm goalposts down. What a win for them. Shake up in the Big 12. Got BYU beating Utah there. So that conference is all around. We had Alabama basically establishing themselves as the best team in the SEC, I think. And we had Notre Dame. That was close for you. You were on the side of USC, obviously.
Yeah,
covering the number.
No, well, I had. Did I have the over in that game too, or did I just have USC?
No, just the spread on this show.
On FP5, I took. I also took the over, and I lost. Yeah, I lost both on that.
Yeah, I mean that was. Well, you can't complain really because you've won so many by a half point this year.
Oh, I'm not complaining. I lost that one by a hook. Look, it doesn't matter. A win's a win's, a loss a loss. It doesn't matter. The hook's always is always taken into account. I mean, the game went actually fairly similar to the way I thought it would go. Other than that, USC didn't cover the spread, but other than that, the game went kind of similar.
Yeah. So a big week. This was sort of a bounce back for me. I did a lot better in college than I did in the week before. I had a bad week in college last week. This week I was a lot better. I had Houston getting to. They beat Arizona. I had the over in that Oregon game, which I did say I thought Oregon was going to cover themselves, and they close to did. They were so Rutgers was up 3-0 at one point, and then at one point in the fourth quarter, it was 56-3 to Oregon, who rallied off 56 straight points. They look like the real deal. Mizzou double overtime winner. They look like they could be in some serious contenders for the SEC. So that was the week of college, and we'll get into now, I guess, what I've been dreading to get into, even though neither of us fully picked this game, but which was the historic collapse by the Giants yesterday. I know you talked about it on your show. It's been a lot to process the game. I think my feeling on it is it was encouraging in a way for almost all the game because I feel like you have a quarterback now. You have this young defensive front that is good. You have a running back that's really good. But the coaching staff is just atrocious. And my feeling is that the coaching staff gave the game away. I don't know how you felt from an outsider.
I mean, I would argue that the kicker gave the game away.
Yeah, of course. But, for instance, Jackson Dart threw a terrible interception. The Giants are up 10 with, I believe there was about 5 minutes left. They get the ball up 10. The Broncos had just scored. They run the ball once. The Broncos call a timeout. They won the ball again. The Broncos call a timeout. That's where you run the ball and make them use a timeout and punt the ball away. Instead, they threw it. Jackson Dart threw a terrible interception. That's completely on him. But he's a rookie quarterback. He's going to make those mistakes. You have to run the ball there. Yeah. You have to establish it. And then, rushing through when you have this defensive front that the New York Giants have, which I think could stand up with any defensive front in the NFL, and you rush 3 guys with 30 seconds left, which you already did against Dallas, and it didn't work for you. To me, that was so unacceptable. That, and also, you have a bad kicker who's missed a bunch of extra points. When you take that 2-point lead, you almost have to go for 2 and try and win the game that way. I
I
thought
don't
that
know.
the coaching really lost them the game.
Do you think? Do you think? Do you think that's why they went for two and they were up 19-0?
No, I think
Because
they
they
did
didn't.
that to try and make it 21.
Yeah, because I felt like at that point they were just chasing points, and I do agree with you on the coaching. Because look, you don't give up 33 points. And by the way, Denver just ran out of time. It would have been 37 points. You don't give up 33 points in one quarter, and that has nothing to do with coaching. Coaching has to have a lot to do with it. This is a team that didn't score at all for the first three quarters, and you give up 33 in
And
just
didn't
one.
the Giants didn't give up any points for 5 quarters. They didn't give up points in the second half of the Philly game. They didn't give up points in the first 3 quarters of this game. And they
Yeah.
give up 33 in one quarter.
Yeah, that is crazy, and it's not like Denver's like this powerhouse type of this powerhouse type of offense. I mean, Denver's just, I think they're a fairly average team. I would say maybe a little
Well,
bit
they're
above
really
that.
good. I mean, the thing that was encouraging is the Broncos are a very good defensive team, and the
That's true.
Giants put up a lot of.
Well,
And Dart
it's a
looks
weird dynamic because it should be in a weird way. Everything that's happening with the Giants right now, unlike with the Jets, should be encouraging to Giant fans, which is that obviously the
yeah.
quarterback situation. It looks like you have a good quarterback situation, which for the future of the team is the most important thing. I mean,
Right.
in a weird way, it would be worse if the Giants won this game, but Jackson Dart was terrible.
Right.
Like, because
Right.
that's just so bad for the future. It's not like the Giants this year are even good enough to make a run in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, let's get into that too. So my lock of the week lost. It was the Jets getting 1.5. I thought for most of the time before. In fact, I told people at work, I told them I think the Jets are winning tomorrow. Terrible performance, embarrassing performance, at least offensively. Yet again, 2 calls at the end of the half that were astonishing. So, yet again, they let the clock run out on the first half instead of attempting to do something. Instead of attempting a Hail Mary. So Justin Fields got sacked at the 50, which Justin Fields was taking so many sacks. It was crazy. He got sacked at the 50, and Aaron Glenn let the time run out. Then he made a move to Tyrod Taylor at halftime, which was the right move, except that he completely screamed at a reporter the week before for asking him if he would make that move and acted like it was such an insane question and then made the move at halftime. He made the move, which was the correct move, I think you would agree, to Tyrod Taylor.
I think everybody would agree.
And then you had the ball with, there was about 3 minutes left, I think it was about 4th and 8 or 9 in your own territory, and he punted the ball away, to which the Jets never touched the ball again after that. Those were inexplicable decisions. You had the interception where they panned to the guy in the crowd who said, "Are you shitting me?" Which was very funny and just really I feel like a lost team right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, we're the only winless team in the NFL. We're
Yep.
0-7, and it's not just that. It's not even like the Jets play this gauntlet of a schedule. I mean, we lost all of the. I mean, the toughest team that the Jets played was actually Tampa Bay, and they actually almost won. But like, just from like a blocked field goal and a bad touchdown call from the refs. But it's not like the Jets haven't. It's not like the Jets haven't had. I mean, the Panthers are not a good team. This is the first time the
Yeah.
Panthers have
They only
even
put up
won on
13
the road.
points.
What?
They only put up 13 points.
Yeah. The Panthers are not a good team. They could have beaten Denver. They should have beaten the Steelers. I mean, the Jets, just like how people talk about the Chiefs, like the Chiefs find a way to win, the Jets always find a way to lose. And a huge part of it is the coaching. I mean, a coaching staff for the Jets is a complete disaster. And, first of all, Aaron Glenn's a defensive coach who's not involved in the offense at all, which is a problem. And the offensive play calling has just been terrible.
And Aaron Glenn, by the way, I mean, I don't think that I don't think you should fire someone after the first season.
No.
But one thing that was pointed out, I was listening to Barstool today, was Aaron Glenn. Yes, he's a defensive. He's actually never had a top 15 defense in his years as defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
Which is not great either.
Yeah. Oh,
mean, last year the Lions, to be fair, last year the Lions had a million injuries on defense, but
yeah.
uh, yeah, well, and also, I mean, this was a good game, like for them, but this was the first game. I mean, maybe Denver, but I really just think London games are just like an anomaly on their own.
I
This was
think
the first
London.
game the defense really played good
Yeah. No.
outside of London.
I think London games are just the ultimate equalizer. I think that's what it
Right.
is. But I don't know. I think it might say more about the Panthers than about the Jets because the Panthers this is their first time winning on the road. They haven't really for the most part the Panthers have been getting killed on the road. I mean, the only game they played okay was against the Cardinals where they almost made a bit of a comeback, but for the
I
most
mean,
part the Panthers have not been good.
this is a team that they lost to that's so bad that their biggest story of the year was that a podcast about their team stopped making episodes because the team was so bad. That's how bad the fucking Panthers are. And
Yeah.
they beat them. And you look at the upcoming schedule, and it's like, yes, it's easier, but like the Bengals, Flacco looks good. They looked good against the Steelers. That Jet offensive line versus the Browns defensive front is going to be hell. So I don't know how much easier it gets.
Maybe
Yeah,
the Jets. I think the Jets have an opportunity against the Browns, just like they had an opportunity against the Panthers. But it's like, and I think they have an opportunity against the Saints. But I don't know. It's just like every single opportunity is just being squandered. They have no shot against Cincinnati, no shot at New England. They have, I mean, depending on Lamar Jackson's status, probably no shot at Baltimore.
right.
But even with Cooper Rush, they'd probably lose that game. There's no way they beat Atlanta. No, I think maybe they can beat Miami at home because Miami's been so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I think Miami's going to do okay, and every time like I bet on Miami, they're terrible. I mean, I don't know how Mike McDaniel hasn't just been like Kiffin. He should have been left at the airport.
He will be fine. And a team, which we didn't talk about when we talked about college, a team in Florida made a move this week too.
Billy Napier, he was fired after
winning.
a win. I've never seen that before, but actually it has happened before. It happened to Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher was actually fired in the middle of the season after beating Mississippi State, and Gus Malzahn was fired at Auburn at the end of the regular season after beating Mississippi State. So actually, there is this weird trend of head coaches getting fired after beating Mississippi State.
Right. So basically, just lose to Mississippi State and you're good. Yeah, and then listen, and then to end the weekend recap. Obviously, this is mainly football-centric gambling show, but we have to mention, obviously, probably I would say I don't think anything will come close. The greatest single game in baseball history. Shohei Ohtani had 10 strikeouts over 6 innings, and then hit 3 home runs. Literally, single-handedly sent the team to the World Series. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, he's playing. I mean, he's playing both ends more than some basketball players are. I mean, I don't know what the football equivalent of that would be, but maybe if he threw for 300 yards and also had
it would be like I guess since we have it'd be like if Travis Hunter caught 3 touchdowns and then also had 2 interceptions that stopped them from scoring a touchdown or something.
Yeah, I guess it would be something like that, but except with Ohtani, it's probably even more impactful as a pitcher.
Yeah.
And a hitter.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And so we have so that's so tonight if you're locked in with sports, you've got 2 good Monday night games in the Tampa and Detroit and the Texans and the Seahawks, and then you've got Toronto and Seattle to win the right to get swept by the Dodgers next week. That is going to be it is a good night in sports. Anyway, let's get into our picks for the week. Excuse me. Let's start in college football. I'm going to start with the biggest game of the week. It is where College Game Day is going, Nashville, Tennessee. Mizzou going out to Vandy. Vandy, big win over the weekend. Another coach that might be in some trouble there, Brian Kelly down in Louisiana. But listen, I don't know. Maybe it's the uniform. Maybe it's just Vanderbilt, whatever. I just have a tough time seeing Vanderbilt as a top 10 team in the country. They are this year. Diego Pavi's having a terrific year. But I'm still impressed by Missouri. Listen, they went out and could have beat Alabama. Then I locked them up, my lock of the week last week. and they came through in double overtime, beating Auburn, who's not terrible. We've talked about this on the show. Auburn could be in some serious contention with a couple of calls going some different ways.
Yeah.
Or a fumble like against Georgia. So that was not a terrible, Auburn team that they went and beat. Mizzou's getting points here. They're getting 2.5. I think they could win the game outright. 3:30 start in Vanderbilt. Biggest game probably in Vanderbilt's history. Probably.
You think this is the biggest game in Vanderbilt's history?
Have they ever played a game where two teams were top 15?
Oh, I mean, I guess you could say that. I mean, I would say maybe, yeah, I guess at this point, given that they're
Because the
ranked,
Alabama game last year, they weren't going anywhere and they weren't doing anything. Like this could decide
Sure.
going to the SEC championship. So
I think that's fair.
I think it's a big game, but I'm high on Missouri. I'm just high on the Tigers. Give me the Tigers plus 2.5.
Yeah, I think that's actually a pretty. I think that's actually a pretty good pick. I don't know. I'm kind of impressed by both of these teams. I mean, this is probably the best Vanderbilt team we've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly better than last year's team, and last year was actually like maybe maybe the second best Vanderbilt team we've ever seen. I mean, for how many years has Vanderbilt like been the laughing stock of the SEC?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm saying it's tough to sometimes look at them and put money, but they are good. And if they win this one, which again I'm taking Missouri, but if they win this one, you know where they go next week? Out to Texas.
Oh,
That'll be
that's right. That's right. They do go to Texas. You know why? I know that because I'm going to Austin for that week. And I initially booked a Spirit Airlines flight. Obviously now I have no self-respect. And I initially planned on going to that game. It's a noon game because my flight was landing at like 10 o'clock or something like that, sometime in the morning. So I would have had time to go to the game. But Spirit added a stop in Orlando to then go to Austin. And so I canceled my flight. And now I'm taking United, and that doesn't land until like 1 o'clock. So I can't go to the game now. But that sucks because that game is going to be good. Like, it's going to be a really good game. I mean, Vanderbilt's way better than we thought, and Texas is way worse than we thought. It's probably only going to be like, my guess is it's going to be like maybe a 5.5 point spread.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see what they do this week, but yeah.
So and you're right. Auburn is like, I think Auburn is a great example of the hypothetical SEC team that just gets beat. Like Auburn is what people say about like a team like Syracuse, Virginia, or pick your favorite Big 12 team. If they had played in the SEC, they'd be getting hammered. That's what Auburn is. Like they're just that hypothetical SEC team. And why is it that every like Auburn game ends the same way? Every Auburn game ends with a Jackson Arnold sack. Like all of them. But you're right. Like if a couple calls, maybe they could have beaten Oklahoma on the road if a couple calls go a different way, or against Georgia for sure. All right, my 1 unit pick, and I was going back and forth because the line's been fluctuating between 13.5 and 14.5 on Novig. Michigan is favored by 14.5. I like Michigan State here to cover the spread. The two equalizers here, rivalry game. Michigan State stinks, but they play Michigan very tough. And the other is that the rivalry game, and they're playing at Michigan State. And Michigan hasn't been a very good road team. Michigan has not looked very good on the road so far. They got blown out by Oklahoma, and they barely were able to beat Nebraska. I think Michigan State keeps this within the 14.5 points.
All right.
All right. By the way, I was getting gas last night at like 1 a.m. And now there's this new thing where you get gas where there's advertisements on the screen. And I saw an advertisement for a Big Ten kickoff, and Sharon Moore was doing it. So Sharon Moore saw me get gas. It was like a sign to bet against him.
There was also a video of him where it was a sign to bet against him.
It was a sign to bet against him.
There was also a video of him talking about the trophy that they get when they play Michigan State, where he said, this rivalry means a lot to us. This is the biggest game of the year, which is just so insane to say for Michigan. All right. My 2-point play, as I alluded to at the start of the show, Arizona State had a huge win against Texas Tech to give them a little bit of a chance to possibly get back to the Big 12 title game this year, get them back in the rankings, and make the Big 12 pretty interesting. Houston is right on their tail. They are tied right now in the conference standings. I don't know if Arizona State is going to lose this game. It is definitely a letdown spot for Arizona State against a team they are better than. But Arizona State has won. Their wins in the Big 12 were on a walk-off field goal, another walk-off field goal, and essentially a walk-off touchdown. They don't beat teams by very much. I do think ASU can win the game, but Houston is getting 8.5 points. I don't think Arizona State is 9 points better than Houston. And again, ASU wins games close when they do it, and they normally lose them close as well. They don't play in many blowout games either way. So I'm going to take the Cougars getting the 8.5 for my 2-point pick.
All right. So, interesting. All right. So for my 2-unit pick, I like Kentucky plus 9.5 versus Tennessee. Kentucky is a weird team. I think that look, the SEC this year, if you look at like the spreads, like the SEC has to have the most parity this year, or certainly way more parity compared to the Big Ten. I mean, if you look at like last week, Texas A&M, who's like the best team in the SEC, played Arkansas, who's arguably the worst team in the SEC, and the spread was like 7.5. I mean, who's the worst team in the Big Ten right now? Is it like Purdue? I don't know. I don't even know who the worst big. What's that? All right, let's say Purdue plays Ohio State. It would be like a 35-point spread. Like, it's crazy how much parity there is in the SEC compared to the Big Ten. And the thing with Kentucky is that Kentucky has been a tough team to play. They've given much better teams good games at home. Just like they did against Texas, just like they did against Ole Miss. And the other thing is that Tennessee they really tend to play up and down to their competition. More accurately to say, they play down to their competition. I mean, Mississippi State, they needed overtime to beat Mississippi State. They almost lost to Arkansas at home. So I don't really think I think Tennessee is going to play down to their competition a little bit. I don't think Tennessee is going to cover this number.
Yeah. Kentucky almost beat fucking Texas on Saturday. All right, so you just mentioned about the Big Ten. Again, so leading up to the firing of James Franklin, Penn State lost 3 games to Oregon, UCLA, and Northwestern. Well, UCLA has won 3 straight since then, and Northwestern won in a shutout after that. Not looking as bad as it was for James Franklin there, but the Northwestern Wildcats are tied for third place in the Big Ten standings. They are 5-2 right now. They are 3-1 in conference. It's time now for Northwestern to come back down to earth. They are getting 7.5 at Nebraska. I think Nebraska is a much better team than Northwestern. Northwestern played a bad Penn State team who were just reeling. They beat Purdue, who we just said is the worst team in the Big Ten. They also beat UCLA at home, which was UCLA traveling at 9 o'clock Eastern time, 9 o'clock Pacific time to play them. They're not that what their record is showing right now. I think Nebraska is. I've got Nebraska laying 7.5 here for my 3-unit pick.
I really like that pick, actually. I didn't end up picking it, but I really like that pick. My 3-unit pick in college, I am taking Mississippi State plus the. I'm taking Mississippi State plus the 6.5 against Texas. And the thing with Texas is that they're not able to win these games by a lot. I mean, they were they Kentucky took them to overtime and they were lucky to win that game. Kentucky probably should have won that game. Maybe if they had kicked the field goal instead of going for it on 4th and 1, maybe Texas loses that game. And I think the same thing is going to happen with Mississippi State. The bottom
Mhm.
teams, especially at home, are in the SEC, are always really giving the better teams in the SEC much better games than you might think. And Texas, really, as is not unpopular to say, they're barely even ranked, and they're really just not that good. Their best performance had to have been when they played Oklahoma, when they beat them 23-6. And I think it probably says more about Oklahoma than it does about Texas. I think all of these games, like in Texas, I mean, their next best performance was probably against Sam Houston when they killed them 55-0. They haven't looked good at all this year. I think Mississippi, I think they probably win outright, but Mississippi, I think it's going to be in the similar vein to how they beat Kentucky. It's just not going to be a whole lot. Arch Manning's not going to do much, and it's probably going to be like a defensive game that is within a 6.5-point spread.
Yeah, I have to check fully the whole thing, but I believe that I believe that since we didn't do week one of college football, so I believe that almost like every show you've picked against Texas. I believe, and you've done well. Yeah.
No. I did not pick against Texas against Oklahoma. I think I just took the under.
You picked the under though because you said Texas because of Arch Manning.
Right. So but I did not pick against Texas though.
Yeah, but you picked an under because
it was the logic was anti-Texas, but I did not pick against Texas. To be clear, and on FP5, I think it was, I ended up taking Texas to cover the spread. So I actually have been right about Texas for. I don't know if I picked. I don't think I picked against Texas when they played Florida. I don't know if I picked that game on this show. You picked against
them when you definitely did Sam Houston. You definitely did the under. But yeah, so maybe it's a good thing that Spirit added that stop then.
Yeah.
But let's go to a 4-point play now. I know exactly what your comment will be on this, but I don't really care about that. You are going to say that I should be worried about a shutout, but I'm going to take the Oregon, Wisconsin over 45.5. And it just has to do with Dan Lanning and Oregon are on the revenge tour after the loss to Indiana. We saw it against Rutgers. I took the over in that game. I was worried about Rutgers not scoring a lot. They didn't score a lot, but I knew that Oregon are out to prove that they are still one of the best teams in the country, and they don't take their foot off the pedal. They kill teams, and they score a lot. And 45.5, Oregon can easily score 45.5. I think Oregon have a better offense than Ohio State, and Ohio State scored 34 against this Wisconsin team. In Wisconsin, this game is in Oregon. Wisconsin, I don't care if they get shut out because I think that Oregon can score more than 45. So 4-point play over 45.5, Oregon, Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, I would just be worried about the whole Wisconsin not scoring any points thing.
But the 2 times I picked Oregon overs, I was worried about the other team not scoring any points. Against Rutgers, it hit because they scored 56, and Oklahoma State, it hit. Oklahoma State scored 3 points, and Oregon scored 60. So I think Oregon is just that much of a beast. One thing you could say about Dan Lanning, he never takes his foot off the pedal ever.
No, he never does. He's like the Jim Boeheim of college football.
Yeah.
So I had to. All right. So what are we at, the 4-unit pick?
Yeah.
I love Texas A&M minus 2.5 at LSU. Yep. Texas A&M, I think, is either A&M or Alabama. That's the best team in the SEC right now. And one thing about A&M is that I mean, first of all, LSU, I don't know how to feel about LSU. I mean, LSU was just inflated by that win against Clemson, and we all know, which also, by the way, ended up inflating Ole Miss a little bit. But look, I think that loss said more about Clemson than it did about LSU. Outside of that win against Clemson, on paper, LSU really has nothing right now. They haven't been able to run the ball. They look terrible against Florida, and I think that LSU. Texas A&M should easily be able to cover the 2.5. Texas A&M's defense has improved tremendously since last year. And by the way, Texas A&M has an amazing third down defense. Teams are not staying on the field. I think Texas A&M wins and covers the 2.5 points. It's not a big spread. I think they should be able to cover it pretty easily. I think that Texas A&M's passing offense has just been great. And their defense, look, they're an offensive team, but their defense has looked very good, especially situationally. So I love A&M here.
All right. My 5-point play. Call up Death Valley at night. Get Livy Dunn there. Get Paul Skeens there. Get Brian Kelly with the fake accent out.
I knew it.
Go Tigers.
I knew
5-point play.
I knew it.
Tigers -2.5. LSU. LSU at home at night. Death Valley at night. They don't lose at home at night. Death Valley at night. I don't think Texas A&M is on my list of teams that I don't think are ranked too high. You think Texas A&M is number 3 in the country? I don't.
I don't
think.
think. Well, no, I don't think it's that crazy. Ohio State, Indiana.
No, they've earned the 3 ranking, but if you look at all the teams on the field, I don't think Texas A&M. We talked about this last week. They should have lost to Notre Dame. So
yeah.
Listen, I'm going with LSU because of the night thing, though. At home at night, it's tough to play there. ABC.
It is.
This is Texas A&M's. Texas A&M has kind of flew under the radar besides that second Notre Dame game. They haven't had a big primetime game. They haven't had a big game where it's like standalone, not standalone, but a lot of people are watching. Like, this is their moment. And you've said, like, the SEC is a lot of parity. The SEC is going to cannibalize itself this year. And I just think this is a spot for Notre Dame, for LSU. And again, think about what, you're saying. Like, they're saying that with LSU as bad as they've been, Vegas is only saying that they think Texas A&M is 5 points better. That's not that much of a difference.
No, you're right about that. Like, maybe, right. I think there's a difference between rankings that are earned and realistically who the best teams are. I think that's true. But look, my pick is more anti-LSU than it is pro-Texas A&M. Even though it's a little bit pro Texas A&M. Like I said, I like their defense. Their defense is very good situationally, and I really like their offense, their passing offense in particular, a lot. But it's also that LSU has just not looked good. This is the same team that just lost to Vanderbilt. They lost to Ole Miss at home, but and they were able to beat South Carolina, but everybody's been killing South Carolina. They didn't look good against Florida. Like, LSU just has not looked like a good team. Now, look, who knows what's going to happen? You're right. It's an equalizer. I think the game will be close, but it's only a 2.5 point spread.
You don't. Close doesn't really. You really kind of need them.
I'm not picking a 7.
I agree. I'm just saying. I think that they're going to come to earth. I think LSU is not that good, but LSU I think will. LSU has a kind of a tough schedule along the way, so they have to go to Alabama after this. So I think that LSU will win one of those tough games, and I think it's going to be Texas A&M. All right, you're a 5-point pick.
Well, I'm taking the Texas-Mississippi State under 46.5. I've been great picking against Texas, and I've been great picking Texas unders. Actually, 44.5 now. It's gone down. So put that at 44.5. I love the under here. I think this game is going to be a slugfest. I think similar to Kentucky. I think that's just how it's going to look. Like, all these Texas games have been low. Most of these Texas games have been low scoring, unless they're playing a team like Sam Houston, where you just run up the score. But but in the SEC, all of these Texas games have been low scoring, and I think it's going to be the same thing against Mississippi State.
Yeah. Well, listen. If you are Arch and you want to make it a name for yourself, here you go. You've got Mississippi State, which you should win. You've got then Vanderbilt at Georgia, home to Arkansas, then at Texas A&M. If you want to make a name for yourself now and come out as the best quarterback in college football, this is the run to do it. And it starts here if he wants to turn things around.
Well, I'm not convinced Texas is going to beat Georgia on the road. That's a really
I'm
tough
not.
place to
I'm
play.
saying if he wants to establish himself
Yeah.
as the best quarterback, this is the run to do it. You've got
Yeah.
Georgia, who's a weaker Georgia team, but whatever. But then you've got Texas. That Texas A&M Texas game, I mean, could be massive. If Texas wins their next two, Texas A&M loses one, it's going to be massive. The SEC is unbelievable, but it's going to be massive. I mean, you're looking at right now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, let me do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 9 teams in the SEC right now are in the top 25. 9.
Yeah. That's why, like, Big Ten fans, I think, are so ridiculous when they're like, oh, the Big Ten's the better conference. Like, no. The Big Ten is the better conference at the top. But top to bottom, the SEC is the better conference.
Yeah. And the Big Ten, yeah.
There's a whole lot of terrible teams in the Big Ten.
Agreed. All right. Let's go to the league where they play for pay. Start off with my 1-point play. Now, I'm lukewarm on this team. I think they look really good, but I'm still taking baby steps, so I'm only going to make it a 1-point play here. I like the New England Patriots laying 7.5 against the Cleveland Browns. I'm worried about the Browns front seven. That's why I'm only making it a 1-point pick. But boy, do these Patriots look good. And I think they've got a serious chance to win the AFC East. Drake May looks really good. It's, talk about a team that's just lost. The Tennessee Titans, just got curb stomped by a coach that they kicked to the curb on Sunday. Pats minus 7.5. I think the Pats look good. Their schedule is ridiculously easy. So give me the Patriots minus 7.5.
Oh yeah. I think the Patriots. Here's my take on this. I think the Patriots are a little bit like the Giants of the AFC. Like, they have a new young quarterback who they're confident in. Right. I guess the only difference is that I think the Patriots this year are in a much better position than the Giants are for this season. But overall, I think the Giants and Patriots are in like very similar places.
The Giants and the Patriots seem like they're always in similar places. It seems like when they were in those Super Bowl runs, obviously they played each other twice and they were both atrocious at the same time. And now, no, I agree. And listen, and what happened last year? They had Drake May. They weren't great. They made the change of coach, and it's made a big difference. New England look good, man.
So that's you saying the Giants need to fire Brian Daboll.
They should have fired him a long time ago. No, I'm stunned. I'm stunned that we're sitting here at 5:37 on Monday, and the defensive coordinator has his job. I'm actually stunned by that.
Yeah. Well,
I thought he would have been.
The Giants, look, the Giants are almost like the Steelers. Like, they're one of those organizations, or the Yankees. They're one of those organizations that's very hesitant to fire their head coaches.
But then ironically, they fired Coughlin early when they probably should have just kept him.
Yeah, and also, although they fired Coughlin early and kept Jerry Reese, and Jerry Reese was probably a bigger source of the problems than Coughlin was. Now, one thing I think is that a lot of Giant fans, because the psychology of Jet and Giant fans is very different, just like with Met and Yankee fans, because it's the same people. Met fans are Jet fans, Giant fans are Yankee fans. Mm-hmm. I think Giant fans are much more supportive of their front office than Jet fans are of their front office. And a lot of Giant fans have this weird sort of bootlicking. Some Giant fans have this weird sort of bootlicking tendency for the Giants front office. I remember last year, there was a whole lot of Giant fans that were like, Brian Daboll, that were saying Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen aren't the problem. Well, then what is? Then what is the problem if it's not Brian Daboll? It's not the head coach and it's not the GM. Then who the hell is it? It's got to be one of those two. And that to me, I thought was just so absurd.
Right. Yeah. No. Listen. Giants. Well, I will say though, but Yankee fans are not as bootlicking of the front office. Also, kind of when you talk about Jet and Met fans, one fan base has spent the last 5 years being like, Uncle Stevie's the greatest fucking thing in the fucking world, and we have the greatest
Well,
owner. And he
hold up.
stinks.
It's not the same thing though, because when things go sideways for the Mets, Met fans then are unhappy about it and then don't say, "Oh, Uncle Stevie's got this." Like no, Met fans are not doing that. Yet Giant fans do that a lot with the Giants when they have terrible seasons. So I think it's completely different.
Yeah, I agree. No, Giant fans are yes, but I agree.
I guess you're right
But
about Yankee fans. Yankee fans are like, fire Aaron Boone, fire Joe Girardi. They always hate their manager. That is kind of true.
well, heavy on Cashman as well. A lot of them hate Cashman, what they call it. But yes. All right. So your 1 point play.
My 1 point play is Lions Bucks over 52.5. A lot of these Lions games have just been very high score. I think both of these quarterbacks have looked great this year, and both of these teams get into a lot of high scoring games. I kind of think it's going to be a little bit of a shootout between the Bucks and the Lions tonight. I know it's, the game's happening right like an hour after we record the show.
Well, good. The people can bet it right now. You can bet that
watching.
Right now on Novig. Go over to Novig and bet it right now if you are watching tonight. All right. So this is now going to confuse some people because I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but in next week's game for the 2 point play, they are laying 5.5 against the Saints. I think the Saints are frisky, but they're just not there yet for me. The Buccaneers, again, I'm not high on the Buccaneers because they've had so many close wins, but they're going to beat the teams that they should beat. They should beat the Saints. Laying 5.5, I just think that's easy enough. Give me the Bucks minus 5.5.
Yeah, as long as the Bucks don't have any special teams blunders, which they do have a habit of doing against weaker teams, like against the Jets and the Texans, I think you should be good. But all right, so for my 2 point play, I love the Bills minus 7.5 versus the Panthers. I think the Panthers might be riding a little high right now. The Panthers are possibly the worst 4-3 team I've ever seen. I think the Bills coming off after losing to the Falcons are going to come out and just destroy them. I think the Bills are going to make a big comeback. So I love the Bills here minus 7.5.
Yeah, and do we know about Bryce Young yet? No, right?
Not sure. With or without Bryce Young.
I actually had the Panthers written on we're going to be my 3-unit play until I remember that Bryce Young might still be hurt. I just low on the Bills right now. All right, my 3-unit play, gonna go to the comeback kids from last night. The Denver Broncos laying 3.5 against the Dallas Cowboys. Listen, the Dallas Cowboys have a really good offense, but their defense is atrocious. And yesterday they made some big defensive plays, but remember, they're playing against a backup for more than half of the game. I think the Broncos have a really good defense. We didn't really talk about it either. We talked about it in the last episode a little bit. If the Broncos had lost that game and the Giants had ended up just closing it out or whatever, my comment on the game would have been the Broncos were fucked by the league like I've never seen. They played a game in Philadelphia, flew to London, then flew from London to Denver, which is a really far flight, on 1 week notice, and played a team that had played on Thursday night that was on a mini bye. If the Broncos had lost that game and the Giants had closed it out like they should, I would have said I would make it an anomaly for the Broncos. I won't judge the Broncos at all when you see what had happened there. That's the fact that they don't give out buys after the international games is so insane. And the fact that you're playing a team that played on a Thursday is also so insane. But I like the Broncos defense, and I think the Broncos defense, if they can stop the Cowboys, if anyone can stop the Cowboys, then the Cowboys have no chance. The Cowboys have to put up like 20, 28 points a game to even have a chance to win. And I don't know if they'll be able to do it against Denver with that good defense. So give me the Broncos laying 3.5.
All right. Yeah. I feel like the Cowboys are like a classic Big 12 or classic Big 12 college football team. Like they're all like every single one of their games is high. Here's the thing. The Cowboys are not a very good team. I think they're probably an average team, maybe even a little below average. but they're probably the most entertaining team in the NFL right now.
Yeah, they have a great offense. It's really, it's really a shame that there's nobody on their roster that's like an elite, maybe one of the best pass rushers in the last 2 decades of football. It's really a shame they don't have a guy like that on their team, uh, in their front. I mean, but yeah, the
Well,
problem with the problem with the Cowboys is I just don't know how I just don't think it's sustainable for them to have to score 28 points a game to
yeah.
win.
No, it's not sustainable for anybody. Well, here's the thing though. You and I kind of agreed that the Cowboys trade really wasn't all that bad. I mean, the thing with the Cowboys defense is that the reason it's so bad is not just because of one guy. Like their defense being as bad as it is really just like a system problem. Like
Well, yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't say that like, well, if they had just kept Micah Parsons, their defense would be average. No, their defense would be a little better, but it certainly wouldn't be good.
No, but who doesn't get like, obviously we talked about how Sauce Gardner has really fell off since his good year.
Yeah.
You know who else has fell off since their good year? Trevon Diggs.
Oh, totally.
He's just
Totally.
not what he was. But yeah, no, but it is glaring. I agree that we both said that Mike Parsons trade wasn't that bad, but I do think that I'm shocked by how bad their defense is.
Yeah,
Like
and the thing
didn't
is,
think they'd even be that bad.
their defense is so bad, but they're lucky that Dak Prescott's having like an MVP caliber season. I mean, Dak
They'd be
Prescott this year's
they'd be on 7.
yeah, yeah,
They'd
if
be on
not for
7.
Dak Prescott. So and everybody likes to hate on Dak Prescott, but he's having an unbelievable year. I mean, right now, outside of Mahomes and Allen, with Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow being hurt, I mean, like who else
Mhm.
would you want to have other than Dak Prescott as your quarterback? And by the
No.
way, he's doing this all with well, he did a lot of it. CD Lamb played yesterday, but like he did a lot of it without CD Lamb. I mean, the Cowboys offense has been
Yeah.
severely injured.
Yeah.
So for my 3-unit pick, I am taking the Steelers plus 3.5 against the Packers. I was hesitant to make this pick because yesterday it was 2.5. Now it's up to 3.5. I love the Steelers here to cover. I don't like the Packers very much as a road team. They needed a comeback to beat the Cardinals. They collapsed against the Browns. I love the spot here for Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh has a legitimate shot to win the AFC North. I really like Pittsburgh here plus the 3.5. I think like the Packers, their defense often just collapses in a lot of these road games. They're just not a good road team at all.
Yeah, unless the Ravens really go on a run, which the Ravens are sort of in a similar situation with Lamar Jackson back, where they're good with the defense, terrible. Then the Steelers should win that division. All right, my 4-point play. I'm hesitant to take big spreads in the NFL. In college it's one thing, but just in the NFL it just scares me, and I feel like these double-digit spreads sometimes end up a lot closer than you think. So I'm just going to take a half here. I'm going the Colts first half minus 6.5 versus the Tennessee Titans. The real line is 14.5. I'm scared to take that. I'm scared of a backdoor there, but the Colts look good. By the way, the biggest indictment on Brian Dable is not what happened yesterday. It's what Daniel Jones looks like at the Indianapolis Colts. That is a serious indictment on Brian Dable, who's supposed to be an offensive guy. Colts first half minus 6.5.
All right, yeah, I like that. I like that pick a lot. I think the Colts have I've really changed my mind about the Colts. I think the Colts are going to win that division. I think, look, they're a really good team. I can't deny that about the Colts, and I think you're right because it would be one thing if Dable was a defensive guy, but it's his side of the ball, and I think that says a lot.
Yeah.
By the way, it might say a lot about Jackson Dart too, which is like, look how good Jackson Dart looks under
Exactly.
Brian Dable's system,
Yep.
which Daniel Jones was terrible under. So, it could say a lot about that too. So my 4-unit play is Cowboys Broncos over 49.5. Just like I'm really big on Texas unders and betting against Texas, I'm really big on Cowboys overs. I don't know how I feel about the spread here, but I was just a little hesitant to take it because I don't know which team you're really going to get. I mean, but I just really like the over. All these games, like Cowboys games, are just shootouts. And, Denver, they can turn it on, obviously. They put up 33 points in one quarter against the Giants. So if you can do that against the
Yeah,
Giants,
they
I
did it
mean,
against the Eagles too. They turned it on the fourth quarter against the Eagles as well.
yeah. So I think, I just think this game's going to go way over. And the Cowboys defense, as we were just saying, is just terrible. It's the bottom of
Yeah.
the league.
Yeah, I agree, and I agree with you about the Colts winning that division. The Jaguars haven't looked as good, probably because of Travis Hunter. Which, if you missed it, Travis Hunter was baptized to be a born again Christian, and they lost that Sunday. And Skip Bayless made a not a joke 30-minute video.
Yeah, it was. I
saying
saw like the
Jaguars
length of the video was 28 minutes long. I was like, how do you have that much to say about Travis Hunter getting baptized? Like, I didn't even get it.
He's still the GOAT. He's still the takes GOAT.
He is.
He is still the
takes
take.
But like, I don't know if I could talk about Travis Hunter getting baptized in more than 28 seconds. How do you do 28 minutes on Travis Hunter getting baptized? Like, what?
Yeah, really amazing. All right. So my 5-point play, I'm going with a revenge game here. I think both these teams will be able to score. Both the Jets defense is okay. The Bengals defense is horrific. Joe Flacco revenge game. Give me the Jets Bengals over 44.5. The Cincinnati Bengals, I don't care who it is. The Cincinnati Bengals defense should never be in a game where the over under is 44.5. Give me the over 44.5. Bengals Jets 5-point pick.
Yeah, except the Jets offense could be playing against, you could have nobody. You could have 0 guys on the defense, and I think the Jets would still find a way to screw the whole thing up. I mean, the Jets could barely, the Jets could barely even score against the Cowboys. So what are we at? The 5-unit pick? My 5-unit pick is another game at 10 o'clock tonight. So get your bets in if you want to listen to me or fade me, whichever way you want to go. I'm taking Seattle minus the 3.5. I am riding with Sam Darnold here. The hook scares me a little. I think Houston is not good. They've been struggling for much of the year. I mean, yeah, they beat the Ravens. But they beat the Cooper Rush Ravens. I think Seattle looks like one of the best teams. I think Seattle's a top 10 team in the league right now. And I really like Seattle here. Really love Seattle.
All right. And if you watched last week's show, my 4-point pick was Texans plus 3.5. So we're on the opposite sides of that one. All right. Let's go to the money line underdogs of the week. I am with you 100% about the Packers on the road. Sunday Night Football, semi-revenge game, I guess. The Jets never went to the Packers, right, with Rodgers. So this is his first time playing them, correct?
Yeah, the Jets did not play the Packers.
No, they won there the year before. Yeah, so I've got the Steelers here. Aaron Rodgers revenge game. Packers aren't great on the road. Sunday Night Football in Pittsburgh. I'm with you with that. So I got them plus 150.
Yeah, I actually almost took them as my money line winner. My money line winner, I am heading down south, and hold on a second, I forgot the exact point play there. I am taking Ole Miss to beat Oklahoma on the road, plus 179. I like Ole Miss plus 179 to beat Oklahoma. I don't think Oklahoma is that good. They were able to beat South Carolina by a lot, but I think Ole Miss, look, this is the same Ole Miss team that really gave Georgia a really tough time in the first 3 quarters. And I think Ole Miss is going to win this game outright over Oklahoma. I don't think Oklahoma is really all that good. And they're very Oklahoma's in a weird position because they're very John Mateer reliant, which is not necessarily terrible. But if John Mateer's a little off, I mean, it's really tough for Oklahoma to win games against a team like Ole Miss at the top of the SEC. And they really haven't really looked good against any good teams. I mean, they were able to win a lot of games, but their schedule for the most part has been fairly weak. The one time that Oklahoma truly was tested was against Texas, and they failed miserably. John Mateer threw 3 interceptions, and they didn't look great against Auburn. They looked terrible against Texas. They were able to beat South Carolina by a lot, but South Carolina sucks. They're terrible. And I think Ole Miss is going to win this outright.
All right, so time to go to the locks of the week. Starting college, I cannot believe that I'm locking this team up, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Bill Belichick, Jordan Hudson led North Carolina Tar Heels plus 10.5 against Virginia, who got insanely lucky to beat Washington State on Saturday. They won with a safety, which is a very rare sight, to win by 2 points. They've had an insanely easy schedule. Their biggest win was against Florida State, who looks terrible now. Another guy in Florida that might get fired. They have a really easy schedule. I just am not that sold on Virginia. I think North Carolina can cover a 10.5. This is much more of an anti-Virginia pick because North Carolina is in a state of just dismay, but they should have really won at Cal on Friday night. So give me the Tar Heels plus 10.5.
Well, I think it would be more accurate to call it the Jordan Hudson-led UNC team, not the Bill Belichick, Jordan Hudson-led UNC team.
Yeah, did you need to say that? Did you see that video where he was like, keep them out of he was writing like notes. I think it was for a TV show. He was like, keep them out of the end zone. And she was like, do we really need to say that? It was so obvious. And it just like changed everything they said. Yeah, so yes.
Bill Belichick, I think this could have – I think Bill Belichick, if he was a generation older, something like this could never happen because there was no social media. Like, there's no way his relationship with her would be so public if he was a couple, like, if this was even 30 years ago. But, like, Bill Belichick has turned into a lovable loser. Yeah. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, I never thought that would ever happen. Like, I hated Bill Belichick for my entire childhood. And now I'm actually kind of rooting for him. Like, I'm kind of rooting for Bill Belichick to like be an okay college head coach. Like, I thought it'd be a pretty cool story. But I'm kind of rooting for him. Like, it's super. Like, I never thought that would ever happen. So my money line. My lock of the week in college is Alabama minus 11.5 at South Carolina. I think Alabama is possibly the best team in the SEC. South Carolina has been terrible. They've been a huge disappointment this year. I think Alabama wins this by 2 touchdowns or more. I love Alabama here.
All right.
And by the way, Ty Simpson, the best quarterback in the country, possibly?
Him or Mendoza.
You can make an argument for him.
Him or Mendoza, definitely. I think him, I would probably put him probably top 5 in no particular order. Him, Ty Simpson, Mendoza. I mean, yeah, I think those two are far ahead. I think Bo Papula's up there. Yeah. Sorry to Penn State fans. I think Sam Levitt's up there, to be honest. And yeah, I would definitely put them in those top 5, top 2 by a strong margin. I think, and that Diego Pavia would be my 5th. All right, my NFL lock of the week. I am going with the Philadelphia Eagles laying 6.5 against the New York Giants. They just played. The Giants destroyed them. So it's time for Philly now to get a little bit of revenge. Philly was on a short week after a tough game against Denver. The Giants are not terrible, but I just feel like this is a game where Philly's going to sort of enact that, hey, we're still a little bit better than you. I don't think the Eagles are that much better than them, obviously, because the Giants beat them by a lot. But I think Philly's going to enact, okay, we're still a little bit better than you, and I just need them to win by 1 touchdown. I think Saquon will have a big day. He did not do anything against the Giants 2 weeks ago. So give me the Eagles laying 6.5 for my lock of the week.
Yeah. I kind of agree with you about the Eagles. I don't think they're that much better than the Giants, but I didn't pick this game, but I really like that pick. I think the weird thing with the Eagles is that sometimes their offense just goes completely dormant.
They're not strange. They're not a team. I mean, they only beat Minnesota by the skin of their teeth. Minnesota's playing a backup quarterback.
Yeah, I think this year's Eagles team looks a little bit more like the Eagles team from 2 years ago than
Yep.
last year's Eagles team. So my lock of the week, I think this is predictable. I'm going with the Bengals and Joe Flacco -6.5 as my lock against the Jets. The Jets are a disaster. There's no way the Jets keep this within a touchdown. I think the Jets right now are a complete joke. They lost. I mean, look, they just lost by 7 at home to the Panthers. The Jets make way too many stupid decisions on offense to stay in this game. I love the Bengals here. By the way, the crazy thing is Joe Burrow is now hurt. The Bengals with Flacco, they might end up making the playoffs just with Flacco as their quarterback. I mean,
Yeah.
the only thing is that that's weird. The only thing with the Bengals is that they took too long to make this move. And by the way, the Browns, they gave up Flacco to a division rival for practically nothing.
The same state, right? They're probably the same state rival. Yeah, it was bad. They killed the Steelers. I mean, I'm just not so sure. I'm not sold on them yet. I think their defense is terrible, so that's why I just took the over there. But yeah, I agree. And the Jets are just in an odd state right now. So yeah, all right. That was another edition of Unnecessary Wagers. We will be back some point next week. Thank you guys for watching. Good